Hey everybody, welcome to the Logan Power Show. It's me, your host, Calvin Logan, live here at the Scotts Grand at 5060 Dorchester Road. Well, hey, with me I have a guest that's about helping people, about stopping the violence, making a difference in the community. I got with me Pastor Melanie McFadden from Blessed Ministry. How you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a blessing to have you here.
I appreciate the invitation.
Yes. Oh, definitely. So we work hard to get here on the show. She's with Blessed Ministry, and she has an actual movement going called Stop the Violence. She's going to talk to us more about that, talk about herself so we can know her better here at the Logan Power Show. So tell us, Pastor, talk about how you got started into the ministry.
Well, it seems that I've always been a part of the ministry because I was raised with a praying grandmother.
Gotcha.
And she raised me from birth. She took care of me, and she poured the Word of God into me.
Okay.
So I never had the opportunity to stray too far because she'd pray me right back in. And so I'm grateful for that now, for what she did for my life. And I started Blessed Ministries with a group of other women in the 90s. And we got together. We're from a lot of different denominations, a lot of different churches. But when we get together, we minister to others that have needs. We meet several times a year. We take women and groups of people on retreats. We pour into their lives because primarily we minister to people that serve others.
Gotcha.
We give so much of ourselves that a lot of times we don't realize that we're running dry and we're going empty and we don't have a lot more to give. So a part of Blessed Ministries that we've perfected from the Lord, the gifts that we have, is to pour back in to those that serve everybody else.
Okay, well, see, it's giving back. Giving it shall be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over shall men given to your bosom. So I'm glad that you're doing that, and it's good to have a ministry that gives back.
Yes.
And you decided to take that lead, and God pushing you out to the forefront. Now, there's something that you mentioned to us that you're real passionate about. With your niece that happened in Myrtle Beach. Stop the Violence program that you started. Let's talk about what you're doing there.
Well, last year in May, it was actually May 24th of 2014, my niece Sandy, her name is Sandy Patrice Geddes Barnwell, she went to the beach for the day with some of her other cousins and friends. And it was doing Black Bikers Week. And as they were at the beach, fights broke out onto the beach with all of the youth. And they were trying to run away from the fighting, and shooting started. Sandy was killed by a single gunshot wound. Sandy happens to be my sister's only child. She was 22 years old, and she didn't come home. To this day, the killers have not been identified, and we're still waiting for justice. We're waiting for closure, and until that time, we're going to work to make a difference with the gun laws and the senseless violence in our communities, and to try to impact youth so that we don't have any others lost. It's a unique club that we now belong to, and we don't want others to join. We don't want you to lose somebody you love to senseless gun violence.
Sure.
We don't want you to become a part and understand the path that we walk every day.
That's a great point. I can tell people right now, losing a loved one, I can testify to that today. Luckily, the blessing part about the person who killed my cousin back in 2000, he was arrested. He's been in jail now going on 15 years. He's got 15 more years left. So I can testify that now how he died, he didn't die from gun violence. The misunderstanding, thinking that my cousin was to talk to his girlfriend, and he ran over my cousin with his car and kept it moving. And they caught him leaving the state, going to the state of Indiana, and the news had put out there that it was like a guy died because of his girlfriend. And my aunt, who I love her dearly, she said that get the story right.
Yes.
My brother, he's my cousin, but my brother, he always was taught, we were always taught this, you know, you see a young lady late at night, walk her to a car. Be a gentleman. I tell my sons, my 5-year-old son that, you know, I got a 1-year-old, I'm working towards opening the door for his mom and for his sister. But, I mean, being a gentleman is something that we always been taught to do.
Yes.
And so, you know, there's a lot of senseless violence. You know, a lot of my family's from Chicago, Illinois, and that's a city that's going through a lot of turmoil right now. I'm definitely sorry to hear about your loss, but I do pray that whoever the killers are, that person has a conviction to say, I need to come forward, because I tell a lot of people are dying like flies.
Yes.
And we need to get control of our community. And it's going to take pastors.
Yes.
It's going to really take the church and the community to get the community back to where it needs to be.
Yes.
I tell people all the time, you know, guns don't kill people. People who don't have the right mindset kill people. You know, in military, been in now 14 plus years, you're taught to protect and serve. Just like a law enforcement, you're taught to protect and serve. Now, when you make a mistake, drop the football, you know, you affect so many people. But these other things that are happening with these young people that are just dying way before time is definitely something that's not good for us as a community. And it's definitely hurtful, because you said that's her only child.
Yes.
So in a year, it's still fresh.
It's very fresh, because the day that Sandy died on that beach, she wasn't the only person that died. She died with another young man. His name was Devontae Dantzler, and he was his mother's only child. Another young man was killed also. His name was Jamie Williams. He had 2 children that he left fatherless now. Another young man, his name was Keith Williams. He was shot 5 times on the beach. He has injuries still today that he's healing from. So 30-something other young people were hurt on the beach that day. We have to do something.
Gotcha.
At some point, we have to become accountable to our own community, to our own children. We have to teach them that there's another way to deal with conflict and to deal with problems. We have to teach them that they can talk. And even if they do fight, there's a way to fight without taking a life. I often call this generation the video game generation because I have 4 sons and a daughter, and my children are all grown-ups.
Sure.
But the mentality of the generation seems to be, I can just punch a button and get another life. That's not the real case, as in this. Sandy's gone. She's never coming home to her family. Devontae's gone. Jamie's gone. They're never coming back. And we can't just switch the game off and switch the game back on and start again. We have to do something so that they will realize how serious this is and how impacted our lives are. Even 14 and a half, 15 months later, every day, somebody in my family is crying over this young woman.
Sure.
You know, just this morning, she has a sister from her father. And that young lady was on the floor crying this morning. You know, she called me. She lives in Columbia, and she was having a very difficult morning because she's missing her sister. And that's understandable. But some people say that you should move on, but there is no time limit to grief.
No,
we have to move when we receive healing, and it's up to the Lord when He makes that happen for us.
Yeah, definitely. I think what you're getting on is a very valid point. I can testify that I lost my mom 15 years ago. May 14th on Mother's Day, found her dead, you know, in our apartment building. And I remember like it was yesterday. I was one of the people accused of killing my own mother.
Oh.
You know, the police had accused me, and I had to fight that battle, and and the evidence, you know, not guilty. It's like, man, I love my mama, you know, but to this day, you know, I miss her dearly. I mean, I was a young guy, you know, freshman in college, about to take my finals, go to the next level. Your mom passed away on Mother's Day. You got finals this week. how are you going to recover?
Yes.
But my faith got me through, and I think about it all the time. You know, I have 3 lovely kids, but have a lovely wife, and I think about things that she missed, but I know she's watching from heaven.
Yes.
I know Sandy is too.
Yes.
And the community as a whole, it really takes someone saying, all right, you know who the problem is. By you protecting that problem, all you're doing is fueling another fire.
Yes.
Because all it takes for it to come into your home once. You know, I think about the Emmanuel 9, the Walter Scotts, the Chattanooga, Tennessee, the Marines who passed away, and the sailor also, the people that just passed away in Lafayette, Louisiana. There's 2, the teacher and the student.
Yes.
The other killings that you see going on from Chicago to Los Angeles, all across the United States. And a lot of young people are dying at such a young age. And the young man who I love to this day, Mr. Tyreek, who got shot, 5 years old, and paralyzed, but he still smiles. And he was one of the biggest stories we had here in South Carolina. Those are the type of stories that I try to get the positive from it. I think that what you're doing with Stop the Violence, something that definitely needs to be addressed. This hush mouth society, like I'm tattletelling on somebody, I don't think it's the case. If you're a hero, the heroes are the ones that tell, like, this is what the problem is.
Yes.
Let's find a solution. Not telling, I don't think you're being a hero.
Right.
I think you're being a zero.
Yes.
Just that's my personal opinion. If you don't like it, hey, turn the channel or don't watch it. But I'm just telling you that.
I think we have to re-educate
Sure.
the difference between snitching and witness.
Gotcha.
A snitch is someone who has committed a crime and you're receiving benefit from giving information. You are either getting your crime reduced, you're getting some sort of reward, something that you've asked for from the judicial system in order to compensate you for the information that you're given. But a witness has seen a crime being committed and you're putting forth the information and you're doing the right thing.
Gotcha.
You see, there is a difference between snitch and witness.
Definitely.
And our youth on the street don't seem to understand that difference. And until we make them know that difference, they're not going to do the right things.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. I hear exactly what you're saying. And I think that the biggest thing is trying to tell them that it's okay to tell the truth and let people know that it's okay to do the right thing.
Yes.
I think it's a lot of times, I tell my daughter this all the time. If you take something that is not yours, either you turn it in or leave it where it is. That's an old school thing. You know, I guess my parents had a 20th, they always say, Calvin, keep a 20th century and 21st century mindset here so you can do the right thing. You know, if you see somebody's wallet on the ground with all this money on it, the biggest thing you want to do is find out what the address is, put it in an envelope, seal it back. Hey, that's your stuff, not mine. But the youth, I think a lot of times, you know, I think we lose the actual value when you're in the middle school. Because I remember in elementary school, you get to a fight with some person at lunch, man, you friends by the end of the afternoon. Or you see a little kid that's 5, but I think we need to get back to it. But I know our time is running out, but I want you to, before we go, where would you like to see Stop the Violence go?
Well, just recently I was given the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. and speak with some of the legislature who are actually making laws concerning gun violence and some of the background checks that have loopholes in them so that we can close up some of these loopholes so that there'll be less illegal guns in the hands of people that do not need them.
Sure.
I'm a supporter of the Second Amendment rights of owning a gun. There is nothing wrong with that when the right people own the weapons.
Sure.
But there is something wrong when they are in the hands of the youth or people who have mental illnesses or criminals.
Definitely.
That is the problem.
That is definitely a problem.
And I really believe in a lot of situations, people don't understand that these things visit families multiple times. Like my mother was killed by her living boyfriend in domestic violence with an illegal weapon. And so twice this has visited my family. So that's why it's extremely difficult and it's so passionate for me because we lost my mother to gunshot violence and now my niece.
Well, that's why, I think that you're going to be a trailblazer to help out with people that's going through this. And I think everyone who's watching right now, the information is on the screen, how to get in contact with Pastor McFadden, and just getting involved. Just giving that 2 minutes of your time, 5 minutes, giving something to that. But for those who are watching out here, we care about you in the community. I know that you can make a difference. This is 2015. Let's not lose another one. But that's all the time. I know this is passion for me. I love people. But that's all the time I got. I know we're going to get Pastor McFadden back on. My name is Calvin Logan, live here at the Scotts Grand. We appreciate you. We love you. And we will see you soon.